Stop calling us kidults. Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the NEC Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the procrastinator of pre-orders, the perfect person, the two-time daddy, my YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_games. But that's not all. We're also joined by the consumer of all things vile, the man with a bunch of titties, the former co-host of the Figuratively Speaking podcast, Corey. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have the man known as Bearded Spice, the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over, the man Optimus Prime popped and he refuses to stop, the Twilight Knight, the master of Mac, the three-pump chump of taking this show off the rails, Nate.
The consumer of pot roasted carrots.
Purveyor of pot roasted carrots. Oh, I'm so hungry now.
I'm sorry. You guys don't get that joke because that was while we were. That's what we spent 5 minutes talking about during the starting soon screen.
Maybe they do get it.
Dude, the show went off the rails before it started.
Yeah, I didn't even get through the intro and we're already there. So this week we're going to talk about something that ironically we've already kind of talked to, but then it escalated. So a couple weeks ago, Jeremy Padower put out a tweet that adults had finally dethroned preschoolers as top demo for toys, or at least like in general, passing them up as one of the larger purchasers of toys. And the Reluctant Adult podcast had talked about it, and I brought up that like the initial Twitter page that people thought it was coming from was like some rinky-dink page, so like take it with a grain of salt, which caused me and Corey to argue for a hot minute, and and then
which I still don't really. I don't even understand. I just was.
I don't either. Like I didn't. All I said was like take it with a grain of salt, and then it was just like you're wrong.
I mean, that's not what you said.
I mean, I said.
Not.
I literally said what I just said
someone
before this.
post that?
That the Reluctant Adult podcast already covered
you said
it.
it was paragraphs.
Well, it's because like I'm a wordy person,
And I only read like the first line of everything because I was like, oh my god.
Luckily, I was at work during that time, so I just kept seeing notifications. I was like, "What's happening?"
The funniest part was I was too.
That was probably a Wednesday, so I probably wasn't.
Like at my cubicle, just like, oh my god, come on.
Your series going, you have another argument text from Michael.
My boss is being like, are you gonna do anything today?
You're like, I have to win this argument first.
So since then, the New York Post has gone as far as to interview Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy / Toy Galaxy about this. So like it's hit like actual news outlets, and I'm still moderately skeptical, but it does kind of bring up some interesting things to talk about here, because just 6 months ago we were talking about how Hasbro was down 25%, and it seemed like that was in the action figure side of things, which showed since everything went to clearance or to Ross or to Ollie's or any other dirt cheap outlet that you can come up with. And now suddenly this is coming out that, oh, well, we have the power. We are the ones who are buying the most. And it just makes me wonder like how they come up with that data. Because like children don't have credit cards.
I have no idea.
So like
How do they come up with any data?
well, usually
Surveys,
you'd have like data
interviews,
There's
there's
They're
ways.
polling
There's ways.
people.
People have built whole. Oh, dear you, only from the internet age. Sweetie. There's multiple ways to get that information across multiple outlets. Now, like, so say you want to go and go to a specific Twitter page and like it. Sometimes you have to like,
Just explain.
you have to like go to like and fill out a questionnaire or something like that to be able to get access to whatever it is you're looking for. There's all kinds of ways to get data.
But I feel like that's so scarce that you wouldn't have a big enough poll to like suddenly be like, oh, well, clearly adults, because there's not a fucking 2-year-old going on Twitter taking a survey to.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but so the way I think. Oh, sorry, Jarmar. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, the way I think, like at least with like younger kids' toys, I think that would be kind of easy because you only have Hasbro, you got Mattel, you got maybe like what 6 other ones that make children's toys now.
You'd
like,
be surprised
at most, and we're talking the whole world, right?
As someone who used to work at an independent toy store, that like one of the people like who ran it was obsessed with kids' toys and got every single brand. There's quite a few like small children's brands.
But if you take Hasbro, Mattel right off the bat, I mean, I don't think any of these smaller children's toy companies are going to be affecting the overall. But I'm getting carried away here. The thing that I think though would be very easy is them tracking the amount of stuff Target is ordering, Walmart is ordering, and if they're like, hey, listen, these aren't working anymore, like, I just don't. I mean, there's your data right there. Like after a course of like 10 years, you're gonna see dips and valleys in these numbers, and it's just hey, this is a trend now.
So I'm trying to make sense of this. You're saying that because things aren't selling, that is where they're getting the data.
I mean, they make so many, they make X amount, and then they go, okay, well, Target's telling us that didn't sell very well, and they had to clearance it out. So then the next time Target goes to buy a children's toy or whatever, they're going to be like, okay, we only want this many now. And I mean, there's your raw data. They're like, people aren't buying this, I don't know.
See,
man.
I don't agree with that because
$multi-million companies, they have ways,
but even
that are definitely over our heads.
Even Big Nerdy just covered this in one of his videos. We're right now in the opposite end of that pendulum swinging, where every time the demand goes higher than the supply for action figures, and in many industries, the people producing them decide to try to overproduce to meet that demand, and then the demand goes down because then suddenly it's not as hard to get and people lose interest, etc., like we've seen with the past year or so of collecting. And then the pendulum swings the back way. Like, this isn't a new thing, so why would that suddenly be the reaction? Is like, oh, well, clearly since they're making less Marvel Legends than they used to, that means that adults are the primary purchaser of toys.
No, I wasn't saying like our toys. I was saying like children's toys, like
oh, so you're saying because less
versions
kids' toys are selling.
Less kids' toys are selling.
Okay, that's where I got confused then.
I mean, I definitely feel like that's a thing, because
it's absolutely a thing, and that's why I had my hand up for so long. I think we're looking at this from the wrong angle. And second of all, if the argument is whether or not adults buy more toys than preschoolers, who cares? They're not in the same toy market. We have surpassed everyone else as far as the action figure market goes. Okay? So we're like 75% of all action figures sold is dudes over 30 or maybe 25 and up at this point. Mm-hmm. That's really what we should be looking at, because that's really where we are. And we're buying more than preschoolers at this point, which we're not buying the same toys. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we're in a unique situation. So, Michael, you don't have kids, so you don't know this part of it. Jarmar, you have young kids who are currently into toys. So, the one is still preschool age. Am I correct? Is
Yeah,
that
he'll be 4.
okay?
Yeah.
I
All
think
right,
they're
so
both still preschool age. Just
there's
one's like
one's
I meant the older one.
preschool.
I knew the
Yeah.
one was
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
See, I knew the other one didn't leapfrog the other one in age.
he's like
So-
that one you
He's
just had a few
14
months
now.
back. That one's now 10,
Yeah.
right?
So like because we've seen it a little bit. He's really into toys, but I also wonder how much of that is influenced by you
Yeah.
personally. So like that may not, because you love the idea of being able to go out and buy him a bunch of Jurassic Park stuff because it's awesome.
Yeah. I would
I
definitely.
never completed whole lines because my kid showed a passing interest. Corey, yours are a little bit older than that, younger than mine, but you've seen them. Basically, you were someone who was interested in toys, and they could give a shit at this point.
Yeah, I screwed up. I don't know what happened. I tried to get them to like toys so bad. I think that was where my misstep was.
You're just trying
Yeah.
too hard.
And then they were like, "That's lame dad stuff." So that's
Yeah.
why I'm in the basement talking to you guys.
My kid is like hanging on by a thread there because he's 19 or whatever or something. I don't know. And like he gets like every once in a while we'll get a thing, but like doesn't need all of them, which my wife and I neither of us understand. Like he'll be like, "That's fine. I just have this one. What about the other one? What about this one? I don't need that." So that like that blows
you
my
guys are
mind.
having trouble coming.
Yeah.
Secretly, Nate and his
And-
wife have been buying the other ones and just having them in their own collection
we-
just to complete
we-
it.
We have done that. We have done that. It's a sickness, and I tell anyone to seek help.
And it's crazy. Your son doesn't have that, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah,
You're like, are you sick? Do I need to
Wrong
take
with
you somewhere?
yeah,
No, I'm actually just normal.
yeah. Go figure. So I mean, I think that even opens up a whole further conversation because, we're it, and again, like we have some kids that are interested, but it's kids who have parents that are really into this, and there is something to connect that way. But I just don't see. There's not a lot of kids out there that discover this on their own, that don't have an influence. And as these kids are getting older, I mean, and really, you think about it, why would you really care about a toy when you can have a game
Right.
or an
That's where I
app
wanted to
or
go.
like a
That's
thing
where I
that's
wanted
so
to
much
go.
more interactive and so much more, if you're raised on it, fulfilling? It's just like they prophesize in Back to the Future too. Like you got to use your hands. Like you can just sub out like imagination. Like you got to use your imagination. Like that's a baby's toy.
So here's my thing, as a counter argument to that, is I feel
Let's
like
hear
that's-
it. Give it to me.
I feel like that's natural though. There's a natural progression in ages where the interest in toys sways because of the social norms. Like realistically, when I took my first like break from like buying toys
After you.
probably around middle school, because at that point is when like you start getting bullied for it, so you're just like, well, this isn't cool anymore, so I'm just gonna find something else. And that's when I got into video games instead, which then led to collector's editions as like a
we're
thing.
raising kids on tablets now.
I'm aware, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying
What-
is like even
I'm
seeing my
saying
nieces and
post
nephews,
preschool age.
my nieces and nephews also are buying are getting like toys and Legos and stuff. But the oldest
Lego.
one,
I don't.
Yeah,
Legos
can't-
is not in.
can't count.
Legos are.
I
a
said
whole other
toys
thing.
and Legos. I didn't just say
I know
Legos.
you did.
All
But I'm just
But
saying,
I'm saying you can't
like,
count Legos.
the oldest one is some age, and
Can you
he's-
generalize? Because I'm trying to make a point.
He's probably pushing 10-ish, maybe 9.
okay.
He is getting to a point where he still plays with toys with his siblings, but his personal collection now has moved on to sports cards.
Right.
That's his big thing now. The younger two still love toys. They're 7 and I think 4 or 5.
Question though, when you say toys, what do you mean? Like I know
I'm
that just sounds
talking the youngest one for Christmas got like the Fortnite action figures and stuff.
okay, that's what I
like
just
that
wanted to
kind
make
of
sure
stuff.
because when you say toys, it's kind of broad.
Yeah,
but-
so like they've got everything from like action figures, the the middle one, she gets a lot of Barbies, those little Disney like mystery things and stuff
Are
like that.
you pushing back so hard on this because you don't want your fiance to know that this is a huge nerd thing? And
Oh no,
and
she's into this stuff too. She's a fucking enabler. She convinces
but-
me to spend more money than I want to spend.
How
it's my joke, but why are you pushing back so hard at this?
Because I think we have this complex where we want this to become such an okay thing, and for us to get be we're dominant, so now Hasbro has to listen to us. That I think that we're making a bigger deal of this than what it is, because I don't think there's
I think that actually makes the opposite point. Because what were you? Go ahead, Corey.
It's not because us overtaking it isn't because we're so much bigger. I think it's because the children is so much the
I mean, we
gap
are technically naturally just bigger.
are so much smaller. Like we've progressed to the highest form of action figure collecting that we can possibly be. But I think the real problem is too that the sales in children's actual toys and children, their children are just disinterested.
That's what like I think the point that you're trying to make, Nate, is it's not that, oh, I'm the best because I am a toy collector. It's because everything is targeted towards that age group because that's what's selling. Like, to be honest, I don't think like it. Basically what I want to say, how I'm looking at it as, we grew up in an era where toys were like the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's not 100% the case. Because if you ask your same niece or nephew, 10 years old, do you want an iPhone, an iPad, a PlayStation, or do you want these action figures? That's gonna win 100% of the time, is the iPad and stuff. We didn't have that as like an option, so toys were kind of looked at as the number one thing. Yeah, but even still, like action figures, going to the store, were you going to go to the store and get a Game Boy every time, or were you going to go to the store and be like, I have a chance
get a
to
Game
get a
Boy
toy?
game.
Not every
Just
time,
because you're not getting
though.
a $100 system every time, you still have like.
But
You
even
still gotta get a $20-$30 game. Like that doesn't.
or a $7, $8 toy action figure.
Yeah.
So, but my point is that it was heavily. If you look at like child, like advertising, I'm watching kid shows, live TV. It is not the same at all. Like it's not. There's some interactive things. It's more like that's what it is. It's mostly like interactive toys, not so much of, oh, look at this action figure with pizza throwing, action, like all that. You don't really see that as often. And I think that's a byproduct of like, well, kids don't really want this. They want more hands-on slime, baking shit, like stuff like that is what's really more popular. I think.
I think honestly, the thing that's most popular is the mystery mini stuff. They have an entire aisle dedicated to that.
Sure.
And let's not forget the rise of Nerf, like weaponry in the last 10 years or
we
whatever.
love our guns in America, so
yeah. Like, that stuff wasn't around when I was a kid, and I walk through the aisles now, and I'm like, this is incredible. Like,
but yeah, I just don't think that kids are the target
yeah.
anymore for like action figures.
Right.
Even if you just base it on like the properties, the things that the action figures are for, like I don't know many kids under like 30 that are into Star Wars. It's sad, but it's true. Like no kid cares about Star Wars at all. And
that also stems a little bit from like their parents not being as into it and like
but that
and let's not forget,
we're buying
it's been
based off of
5
nostalgia.
years since there was a movie in theaters.
Right.
Like,
but also
that's a lot. That's a long time.
All of our action figure lines and stuff that we're into are based on nostalgia. So like we've had this fandom of this thing and we've enjoyed it this whole time, whether you dipped out or you dipped back in, it stems from that. It's not because of like, oh, this is a new property that I'm really into and I like this toy. It's coming from like what happened in the past. Those kids don't have that, so it's not like brewing in them to become toy collectors unless they have a parent who is a toy collector and they see that as like an example.
So that, I think that's where the disconnect is, because you're comparing your current status to a child's status, where the difference is when we were kids, we had.
No.
Let me finish. Because
Go ahead,
because Nate's talked about this at length multiple times. When we were kids, we had properties that were built around toy lines. They stopped doing that.
Fair.
And that's where the disconnect started happening, where kids were getting less interested in toys because there was no. Most of the TV shows that came out in the 2000s and 2010s, there was no toy line with them.
It's all live action.
It wasn't, not even all of it
Well,
was
I'm
live
saying
action.
now, like most kids stuff is mostly a live action.
Well, I'm talking about back in 2000s, it wasn't.
Sure.
That's why I said 2000s to 2010.
Yeah.
So, and even then when we were kids, a lot of stuff was live action. Turtles had that terrible TV show that was live action. Power Rangers was live action.
But what does that
Sure.
ultimately
But you're kind of
stem
proving.
from?
Yeah.
Like, they're not toy lines because, you know, they weren't selling only things. The only things that were selling were tied into properties, Batman, Star Wars, in the sense through the 90s, X-Men, and as it went on. And then the whole start of, you know, McFarlane and the rise of the adult collector, who at that point was like 15, you know, to come back into toys, and then, you know, became what we are now. I don't think that adults being the primary buyer of toys is actually anything that we can hold on to as like bargaining chips. In fact, I think it's less so, because it used to be that they had to kind of gauge the market because, you know, it was for kids and adult collectors. Well, now if it's just adult collectors, they're gonna make it a lot less, even more so. And I look at what they're already doing. Like, look at what Marvel Legends is pivoting to. Okay, the only things that is in stores are Spider-Man retro packaging, movie figures. Everything else now has side switched over to fan channel,
which is great.
And right, it is great, but those are also going to be in extremely lesser numbers. Corey's talked about the fact that a lot of them have been difficult to find lately. He didn't realize that they weren't going to be in stores, so they're finding their way through that. So ultimately, that is a good thing in the fact that it might become easier, but it's also going to have to become even more quicker than it used to be. You know, it used to be you could pick up a whole wave throughout a couple of weeks or whatever. Then it became, well, you had to pick them up, you know, rather quickly. And now you got to you have to decide like right now if you want them now or they're gone, you know, that sort of thing, because we are the primary market. And let's face it, like even with the few kids that are coming in, you know, there's more leaving this planet every day than we are bringing in. So
that's fair. I think my biggest disdain for this whole thing comes from, and I'm trying to find it because it was the way Jeremy Patower framed it, because everyone like looks at him like he's so great, and I'm like, if anything, he's terrible for collecting.
Who is this?
Jeremy Patower used to run Jax back in the day when they had the WWF line. Now he runs Jazzwares, and he is in charge of the AEW line. And he's very big. He's kind of like what McFarlane is trying to do with Marvel, or not Marvel, with DC Multiverse, where he's like making it about like exclusives and this, that, and the other. Except for like he doesn't do it in a sense that makes them so they feel special or at all, because then Walmart just has a bunch of peg warmers of like one character, which is both great and not great for, you know, the entire situation. And I don't know if he deleted it or.
I was gonna say, are you gonna read?
I was going to, but he doesn't have it up on his Twitter anymore, so I don't know if he deleted it or something. But he framed it as.
It's not on his Twitter; it's on his X.
Oh, maybe you're on the wrong website.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you need to look up his excretion.
That's not what I want to Google. I do not want to Google
Somebody
Jeremy Patower's excretion.
Somebody told me it was supposed to be called Times, and then people just started calling it X, and they just went with it.
No, Elon Musk
he's
specifically wanted it.
Yeah, he's obsessed with.
He wanted to call
X.
PayPal X.
Yeah.
Wasn't X like a X, like NX or something like that? And her name was. Anyways.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, when you're a billionaire, I guess you name things what you want.
Yeah, I can't find it now. I don't know if
I would have named
he
it Pickle, to be honest.
deleted
Did
it.
Hey, are
Come
people
on, Mike.
real quick? Are people watching? Is anyone commenting?
They are. I was
What's
gonna get to the
Oh,
chat
yeah.
here in a second.
Oh, okay.
But he essentially framed it at the end of his tweet was that like you have the power. Like he was like, you guys are the one. You guys have the bargaining chip, and that's not the case. Like you
You
just
know what
No.
else you have the power of, Michael? You have the power of toy photography. And if you have an interest in toy photography, or you're looking to improve your camera skills, or are simply looking for inspiration, Toyography magazine has what you need. We offer in-depth interviews with skilled artists, tips for lighting, composition, and other areas of photography, like Photoshop that Michael talks about, figure posing and working with props, an artist wall, contests, and more. Their quarterly magazine is available in digital and in print. I opt for print so I can have more crap in my house. Visit our website at www.toytographymag.com. I don't mean that as in crap like their magazine because I love their magazine. I just mean in general because I have a lot of crap in my house.
because you're a hoarder, but not a dead cat hoarder. We've talked about
Right.
that before.
No squish kitties, no pooping in bags. You're also welcome to join the Toyography magazine Facebook page where you can share your photos, discuss tips, participate in contests. We'll see you there.
Yes, link in the description below. The June issue is out where I have my first article in there where I write about how to remove stands in Photoshop from your photos. Yes, so let's take a look at chat, 'cause chat has been going off a little bit here. So we started off, Boogeyman was in there before we even got to the cold open with what's up, fellow kidults. Pop culture and plastic. Good morning from Sydney. I just got home from the stores. I noticed kids looking at Lego and die-cast cars. Adults were looking at action figures. Fair.
Boom.
Two things that'll never die with kids: Hot Wheels. But Hot Wheels just transcends everything
Yeah.
because, like, it's been around forever, and it's also pretty much the same price as when I was a kid. I don't know how that makes sense.
No, it's not. Aren't they like $3 now?
Oh,
No,
I thought they
They're like
there's
99
some.
cents.
There's some
still
that
like-
are more expensive.
Okay.
But they're
But like
mostly
your
like
average
$1.
Hot Wheel is still like
Yeah,
99
your
cents.
Okay, I guess it's
Yeah.
because I've only ever got like the pop culture
Special
ones,
ones.
so I'm just like, why is this?
Oh
fucking
yeah,
$3?
that's where they make their money.
Yeah.
I think the real ones must be loss leaders. They're like, fuck it. They're going to be like Arizona tea. They're 99 cents to the day we die. But this one that has a spray painted Boba Fett on the side, it is $12.99.
Jesus, yeah.
Cough it up.
We've got Big Troy's Collectibles. Yo, how's it going, man? Fig Fan Samurai Wednesday night with the boys. Let's go. Northern Nomad, what up, kidult suckers? Fig Fan Samurai, why does Nate look like he's either rolling, or it's just one of those days? Pop culture and plastic. My daughter gave up Disney Princess Dolls, Barbie, Toy Story, etc. when she was about 8 years old. After that age, it became all about music, makeup, and concert tickets, clothing, and perfume. That's what
And
I was
that
kinda-
seems early to me, but I don't know if that is early anymore.
Yeah, I feel
You
like
know?
that's
Because like I was, but I'm definitely not the norm. Like I was like 12. Like I specifically remember looking at GI Joes, but also looking around to make sure nobody from school was around
Mm-hmm.
to see me do it. So
That's right there with you.
yep.
Is it weird that I never had this, like, I guess it wasn't like, I don't know, all of my cousins had a bunch of action figures and stuff, and
It
Let
probably wasn't as
then we
shunned
started
for
playing
you.
football, and
And
we just kind of like still play with toys.
Was this at like the age of 13, or was this like when you were
Probably,
7? 'Cause
But
that's a
you
huge
were
difference.
probably normal and gave up
Yeah.
when you were supposed to.
But yeah, and then I mean, it kind of transitioned into Pokemon cards. So we went from like collecting action figures to collecting Pokemon cards. So like, we didn't, play with them as much. So like, yeah, but I just don't ever remember being like, oh man, hope they don't see me play with these.
But you
Like,
probably
yeah,
weren't too
those
old.
are my wrestling figures that I have right here. Here's my Triple H. Here's The Rock. Like it was, yeah, it kind of was everything. But that's fair. I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was rough.
I never gave. I specifically remember being 16 and my girlfriend at the time being like, "Why do you have all these Star Wars figures in your room?"
You're
And I
like,
think
goodbye.
if you're just a couple of years younger than me, I think you just happen to just leap that gap a little bit easier.
Yeah,
Because like
It's
Star Wars came back in '95, and then it was
Mhm.
cool. Everybody was buying them.
yeah. And then you could like be a stoner kid in school and still buy toys, and nobody cared.
They're like, oh, he just gets stoned and plays with toys. That seems right.
I specifically remember one time, like, I lived in this like really small town, and I remember one of the quote unquote cool kids coming up to me in school and be like, "Hey, we saw your buddies and you playing Nerf guns outside," like trying to make fun of us. And I remember just being like, "Okay," like we were playing Nerf guns. Like I don't know what you want.
So
you find them now and be like, "Have you seen these Nerf guns? They're amazing. I can't run around and shoot them because of my hips, but they're great.
I can sit on the porch and shoot them.
They shoot up.
Yeah.
Laser sights.
They have a Nerf battle station."
Oh man, Northern Nomad says Nate looks like he means business. Boogeyman, my son turned 8 and has become a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan, both playing the games but also avidly buying the toys and plushies.
That's how it starts.
Big Wood sent some emojis. How's it going, man? Lago Figs listening in right now. Fig Fan Samurai, 7th grade me. That's when me and my friends started getting bullied for collecting G.I. Joe, so I started buying CDs. See, that was my thing. I was probably 7th or 8th grade. It was right at the tail end of the Lord of the Rings line. And it was just one of those things where you start getting bullied about it. And I'm like, well, I guess I better do something else. And that's when I transitioned into playing video games instead for 4 or 5 years until I was like, fuck it. These things are awesome. Like, I think SH Figure Arts is what got me back into toy collecting. Because I was probably, 21, 22. And
Kenner in 1995 is what got me back in.
Well, I mean, I was actively getting those as a kid, though. So, like...
I know.
But like for me, it was I was
like Figure Arts. They are cool.
But no, what I'm saying is I was doing collector's edition
toys.
statues and stuff,
So cool.
and being like, oh, this is a cool like kind of conduit for what I like used to do, but it's like not frowned upon. And then like a couple of years into the SH Figure Arts line, I came across the I think it was the Saiyan Armor Vegeta, the first one or the second one that came out. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And that was like kind of the thing that got me back into it. And next thing I knew, I was buying a bunch of those and getting back into other lines and even like some of the like video game lines, like the BioShock and stuff like that from NECA. So I still feel like that's just like a natural thing that once you get to a certain age, it's not deemed cool anymore, and you either choose to not care or you choose to conform because you don't want to get bullied and made fun of, and then eventually you either find it again or you don't.
But I think some of that switched. I mean, the younger generations have had it a little easier because you can do that. You could just, I mean, these days, to be into being into what I was into in school. Oh my God! Like people openly wear stuff at school that I kept secret. Like, I don't even want to get into it. Like, it's good and bad because I wouldn't want to have to deal with social media when I was in school. So
yeah.
To go back with what Michael just said, what got him back in was SH Figure Arts, but it also was nostalgia for something like Dragon Ball Z. It always, I don't know. I can't think of like one thing that would have brought somebody into action figure collecting when they're older that wasn't nostalgia. Like I can't think of 100%. One thing.
Which is my point, though.
I agree to an extent, but I'd never stopped watching Dragon Ball Z. So I don't know if that's nostalgia at that point, because like I was consistently a fan of that. I just didn't know these figures existed until like I came across that one.
Right.
That's a tough one because I was already like a quote unquote an adult when I discovered Dragon Ball. And I forgot the point I was.
Because like, don't get me wrong, like that was my childhood, but like I owned the DVDs and rewatched them regularly. Like even like after I stopped collecting toys, and I'd watch it like when they'd do marathons and stuff on Toonami. And honestly, I discovered the Vegeta figure right around I think when Super started airing in the States. So like I was like getting to watch new Dragon Ball, so I was like actively a fan. So it's like part nostalgia, but also like it's not something where it's like, oh, I missed this in the way it felt. It was like, oh, I still watch this and I love this kind of thing, you know?
All right, get back to the chat.
That was it for the chat. Oh, wait, no, we do have a couple new things. Pop culture and plastic. I was a kid in the 70s and 80s and got out of toys in about 1985. Got back to them in 1993 and haven't looked back. Fig Fan Samurai, okay, I really want to know what Nate kept secret back when he was in school.
Oh, my comic collecting, comic reading. That was, oh my God, that was absolutely unheard of. That was the uncoolest thing, because there was one kid who was open about it, and he was just, no way. So that shit was kept on lockdown.
That's
absolutely.
Fair. Yeah.
I was living a double life.
There is a crazy difference between you and I, even though we're only how many years apart? Not like a couple, but really that many?
Is it? I don't know. I mean, I'm 45.
Okay, yeah, just like 4.5, whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, I was still a dork in school, but we openly played Overpower in the cafeteria. Like while we played Overpower, we played Star Wars. Like there was no fandom that people like denied, you know. I mean, but I did get made fun of, but I didn't really care because there were so many of us.
Yeah. No, and there was, because I went to a much, much smaller school. There was like me and that one kid, and I was like, I was nice to him. Like I would not openly make fun of him. We would talk every now and then about stuff, but like I didn't like openly associate with him, which is probably wrong or whatever. But
like looking
high
back,
school was different then, man. Like you got to do shit.
Looking back, how great would that have been if you would just like were sitting next to him, like in the lunchroom, and just would have been like, so Secret Wars, huh? That's crazy.
You would have lit up like Christmas.
Like,
you would have made his fucking year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Secret Wars was like 10 years prior, but you know.
Okay, wait, let me think.
Still could have
Nightfall.
Nightfall.
The death of Superman, like that would have, because this is also the thing though. This dude, when the Death of Superman issue came out, took the bandana, the black armband, and wore it to school.
This guy sounds awesome.
He does now,
but at the same time, in that era, I could see him like getting bullied heavily. Like that for him was what we had kids in my high school who wore like the Naruto headbands.
Yeah.
And like they got bullied relentlessly, but they at least like had a pack, so there was like 6 of them. So like they were like doing their ninjutsus and shit, defending themselves. Where this kid was a loner with his Superman armband because Nate didn't want to be his friend.
So I just went like,
oh, wow.
Hey man,
he walked by and whispered, "Doomsday was right."
Yeah.
He walked away.
Yeah.
That Nate fall.
That's right.
Yeah, basically we've come to the conclusion that Nate was borderline a bully, and
I was not.
I mean, so you were Jerry in the gang at the end of Seinfeld. You didn't bully the guy, but you sat there and watched from across the street and didn't do anything about it.
Correct.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to mind your business. You know.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Like I remember even like I didn't even like openly read The Crow unless I was with like the like play people, you know, the musical people, the theater people.
Theater kids, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, but now like you wear a Crow shirt, like that's cool. Like all that shit was cool now, but
Yeah.
Just don't remake it.
What?
And I'm sorry, I forget their username, but the person that said that they started in the 70s and 80s and they came back in 93.
Plastic.
Yeah. I'm curious what it was in 93 that brought them back.
I have to assume Power of the Force, right?
That was 95.
Oh, maybe one of the Batman
I'm thinking
ones?
maybe Batman animated series
Yeah.
or... But again, it could be Spawn, because Spawn brought a lot of people in. That's the one thing I say that wasn't based on nostalgia, because I remember just like, you know, I don't want to generalize, but that's what I do. Like the metal kids that would come in and buy Spawn figures because they looked cool.
They looked fucking like metal.
Yeah. So,
but McFarlane was one of those linchpin moments where it was like, well, they're never getting better than this.
Right, absolutely. I mean, they were literally statues sometimes.
I'm talking about the first round was just they had Toy Biz.
Oh my god!
They had the Toy Biz articulation. Yeah, maybe it was Toy Biz stuff. Like
I remember looking at those first wave and just being like, "This is the greatest action figure I've ever held."
And do you remember how hard they were to find?
Oh yeah,
I got my first Spawn figure for Christmas, and I remember just being like, where did you find this? Like, I was blown away that my dad even found one.
Yeah, my brother used to work midnights at Kmart back then, and they would come in, and new ones would come in, and he would, when he would stock them, he'd put the new ones in a dresser drawer in like the home area, like for the display. And I would go in the morning and open the dresser drawers, pull them out, and go get them.
How old were you when this happened?
16.
Okay, I thought this was gonna be like when you were like 27.
No, 16 or 17. Because I was driving to Kmart the next morning. I mean, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So what, did he like call you or send a carrier pigeon? Because like
he would like either. I think he was probably home by then.
Okay.
Would let me know.
He'd wake you up and be like, "Hey, they're in the actual place."
Yeah. Yeah, because I would get up for shit like that. Absolutely.
You'd be like, "All right."
Like I would do that instead of going to like, because I would have been. Well, no, maybe that. This maybe wasn't when I was. Maybe this is after I graduated. Because like I say, because like I was in college, and sometimes I would just like not go to class and go
toy hunting.
Pick up.
Go toy hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That. So you were probably in your 20s, early 20s then.
Yeah, that might have been it, but it must not have been. But I remember maybe I didn't drive there because I know it was that first wave, and I was. Well, I must have drove there, but I must have still been in high school. Okay, I don't know. My brain's not working.
I'll take my friend's story. Is you're the reason why people are always like, it's the employees getting them.
Yeah, because at the time it was.
Technically, it wasn't an
And
employee.
times when like
it's his dad. His dad was hiding them for him.
It's my brother.
Yeah, it was his brother.
Sorry.
And then
still a family member hiding them for him. Like
when I worked at Toys R Us and cool shit would come in. My brother lived not far away after he moved out from home, and I would call him. I did this a couple times. He would come over, and he would come in as a customer, and I'd be like, "Oh, putting the new figures out," and I'd be like, "Oh, did you see this one?" I'd hand him the ones I wanted, and then he would go buy them. And
hello, sir.
Yeah.
How are you
oh
today?
my god.
Yeah. Because we weren't allowed to hold shit back then.
Yeah.
Especially you just hide it.
You could get fired for that.
Because technically you can't hide product. Like,
I mean, his brother did it at Kmart.
Yeah. Yeah, he
never got caught.
Yeah, but hell,
give a shit.
We fucking did it at GameStop all the time too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's going in the drawer. Or staying.
Could you imagine being a manager having to have that conversation? Just be like, so we saw you put all the Spawn figures in the 5-drawer Colonial. What's up with that?
What's going on with these?
I don't know. They're not there now.
They're gone.
That's
something
not
for
where
a
they
customer.
go?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't just like put him on hold for a fake customer.
I don't know that they could do that, or he even thought to do that, or.
No, I'm talking
I
about
don't
you
know.
when you worked at
No,
Toys R
that's
Us.
trash.
Oh. Who knows?
Logistically, though, it seemed like that would be in slightly more work of like,
Yeah.
oh, such and such is holding them.
Well, I
and then
figure you could
have
just
to, like,
hold them
come back
for
and
your
buy
brother,
them and-
put his name on them, he'd come in and get them, versus you having to awkwardly
I
stand there
don't-
like, hello, person I have no attachment to. How about you like this one? This one? Oh, not this one.
Something
This is the
makes
shitty
me
one. I'll put that
think
up.
That we like at the time weren't doing that or
Okay.
something. But who knows?
I don't think they cared at the Chapel Hill store when I worked.
They probably didn't, but there was a lot of shit going on at our store. But this was also in like, I mean, this was the late '90s, so this
That
was
was,
the
like, the
height
peak,
of
yeah.
Power of the Force, and the beginning of the collector boom.
So I love Fig Fan
What?
Samurai's explanation of Spawn. Spawn had sex, so you felt kind of cool and edgy watching it.
I actually really didn't like the show.
The HBO show?
Mostly.
Yeah,
It was
Just amazing.
kind of boring.
yeah.
It took like 4 hours to get through like the first issue.
Yeah, it was forever.
Story. It was like, oh
I don't
my-
even know if I made it that far. I remember like a friend of mine was recording it for me because I didn't have HBO, and like I didn't make it through that. So then I just waited, and then like the videotape came out, and I went and bought it and tried to watch it on that. And I couldn't get through it.
It's
So,
boring.
Yeah,
Very boring show.
and they swore a ton. I was just like,
Well, that was
I was like, what is
McFarlane's
the
big
deal with
thing.
it?
Is
Yeah,
like,
but I was like, they
he
didn't
wanted
do
to be.
this
He was
in
like,
the
"Can I say
comic."
fuck?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right, let's do it."
But they didn't do it in the comic. It's like, not that I was a prude, but like when it's every third word, you're just like, okay, like
Yeah.
use it for emphasis. Don't
Just because.
Nah, man, you
Yeah.
could be like, "Fuck, fuck, 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 fuck."
use
fuck,
it as
fuck,
a
fuck,
spice,
fuck,
not an
fuck, fuck.
ingredient.
Like back then they were probably like, listen, if we don't say fuck like every 5 seconds,
Yeah, they're trying to
adults
break
are not
the
gonna watch the
Goodfellas.
cartoon. Like we
record.
have to make sure everybody knows this cartoon is for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what else is for adults? Toyography magazine.
I thought you were gonna go back to the topic that we were.
Oh yes, pot roasted carrots.
It's also kids.
So
Kids can post toys.
So, real quick, last thing I want to talk about before we close out is this fucking term kidults. Why is
I've
this a
never
thing?
heard this until you literally. I
Really?
read the-
This is a thing that they tried to make popular over the pandemic when adults became a little more like visually buying up toys and Pokemon and stuff like that because we all had a bunch of extra money and nothing else to do. But yeah, they've been trying to make it a thing. And it's just like, no, like it feels like a derogatory term towards people who like collect things they enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because it starts
like-
with kid, like, I don't know.
Like you're
Like, I don't
demeaning me
put
by
much-
saying I'm a child,
Yeah.
but also an adult.
I don't like it.
I don't
don't
like
like
it.
it.
I don't
Get
put a lot of. I don't really care though either, because like I'm not going to use the term. I'm not gonna,
How about cool dog?
except probably in memes or something with that Steve Buscemi. Hello, my fellow kidults. That sort of thing. But
Damn it, that should have been a thumbnail.
that should have
Where
been
were you
thumbnail.
fucking 4 hours ago?
And
Well,
it should have been
it
his
was
face
likely-
with a hat backward. Well, he has the hat backwards. He could have
He
been on a
does.
skateboard. It would have been perfect.
Oh man,
I don't have any other youth things. I mean, well, other than toys.
it really does. Oh my god. So
As we just talked about over
But,
the
like,
last hour, that's really not relevant.
So what I need you to do is after we're done, I need you to take a selfie with that hat on and with one of the giant transformers so I can make a new thumbnail for this.
All right.
Hello, fellow adults.
Kid
That works.
dogs. Someone made that and thought they were just so
Oh, they thought they were the fucking
Oh,
like
And it just doesn't-
Susan in editing thought she was just the talk of the town that day when she came up with that term.
Kid
And
dogs.
yeah, it
Alright.
just
We
it
should
just
probably
annoys
watch-
me.
She probably watches Big Bang Theory too.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I mean,
for sure.
listen,
you're right.
listen.
You're absolutely right.
Big Bang Theory isn't that bad.
Okay.
It's definitely made to make fun of people like kidults, though.
They're definitely laughing at us, not with us.
Yeah,
Right.
but at the same time, like I don't know, I still enjoyed it because like they also made Knots a thing that only we'd get anyway. So like it was like a little bit column A, a lot column B kind of thing.
My parents loved it.
Yeah,
Say,
they were like
my
my
father-in-law loved.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't know.
Is
But
that,
that
how
makes sense.
Then is that like a way for him to talk to you?
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
mean,
so you're like
low-key a
Leonard,
nerd.
huh?
Yeah, he's low key like a nerd as far he's
Oh, he's the dinosaur man.
What's the one that's the space show? Not Star Trek, but the original
Battlestar Galactica?
yes, Battlestar Galactica. That was like his jam, and he has it like.
Was this
box set.
before or after he bought an
Watch
entire
Tarzan.
island and filled it with dinosaurs?
Before.
Did he like the old one or the one
Like the
from,
original,
which is
yeah.
now 20 years old?
No, like old one.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming I would have to assume that is it, but that's what it was. I mean, he would tell us about episodes that would made him cry and shit. So,
Maybe he is talking about the newer one then, because that one was like good.
oh no, I assumed it was the old one, but yeah. So I
It
mean,
is old
he was
now,
kinda
though.
I still think that you need to like get him to wear that outfit he wore at your wedding, and just get a picture of him playing with all the dinosaurs of Ezzy.
One day,
And then
he's
put the
gonna put it
caption,
together
"Spared
and be
no
like,
expense."
"Wait a minute."
I still want to be like, can you
John
sign
Hammond.
this John Hammond action figure? Man. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that term is stupid. It needs to go away.
Yeah.
As where was it?
don't
Dante's
think
Toys
he's got a
put
lot.
similar to man child. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
Also, Jake, first time I've seen him pop in a while, says, "Oh shit, I forgot Jarmar was here. He hadn't talked in a few minutes."
I'll let you guys chat when you go down your memory lane. You know, we'll get there one day, right, Michael?
Get it? Because they're old.
It's a joke.
They like retro figures.
If shoes are retro, clearly toys have to be retro.
Suck a dick, Michael.
So last thing here. Dante's Toys did ask a question here. He says, "Do you gents think the resurgence of toy collecting since COVID will end soon?" Oh, pandemic. Will end soon.
I was like, what?
Wait, the resurgence?
Yeah, because it became big
like
over the
boom.
pandemic.
Oh, I think it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
definitely.
say it's got to be over.
It's
right?
on the decline now.
Oh yeah, because we're already seeing the pendulum
don't-
go the opposite way as far as production. So like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was even. It wasn't just action figures either.
it was everything,
Right.
like trading
Oh,
cards,
yeah.
all of that.
It's on
Video games,
And
like, had
unfortunately-
a huge explosion.
It fucked all of us because
Mhm.
all across the board, everything's more expensive now because everyone had money and they're like, oh, well, everyone's cool, gonna pay whatever the fuck we ask. And
Right.
now a pack of fucking
Right.
Magic cards $10 and a Marvel Legends 30. So like,
Well, that's also inflation.
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go with corporate greed, Alex.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. That's the daily
And
double.
that's
just-
why
Prices continue to rise. We just had our
can't
most
help it.
profitable year.
I
Imagine
just
that.
jerked off on a pile of
Yeah.
100 bills. Yeah.
Jeff Bezos to buy Earth.
Nah, I think he's buying Jupiter. I think that's what he's
All right.
buying
Wow.
Jupiter.
That's
Elon's gonna buy Uranus.
Ah, that's funny. And then he's no. Sorry, Kit Bash Carnage. Sup? Hope everyone's doing well and all in the chat. How's it going? Jake says there is a reason my first tattoo was BSG, Battlestar Galactica. Okay, he's back to
Oh,
that.
Battlestar.
Fifth Fan Samurai, Ghost Cross. That's a solid first tattoo. All right, guys. So, on that note, we're gonna wrap things up here. As always, if you enjoyed this live stream, whether you're watching it after the fact or live here with us in the chat and you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out and gets you a bunch of toy-related content in your feed. Here soon, we're going to be having more content on the channel. Next week or so, I'm going to be moving, so I'll finally be set up in my new studio area and be able to hopefully start bringing back some old and new content things for us to post. And if you want to see that stuff first, for $1, you can head over to patreon.com/Modern Toy Fair, where any videos that we pre-record, any photos I take, will all go up on there first. Some photos will even be exclusive because I probably won't post as many to social media because Instagram has pretty much just become a vortex of suck, and Twitter's always been kind of useless anyway. But also, if you want to see the article I wrote for Toyography magazine, a few weeks after they release, I'm allowed to post them on our Patreon. So next week I will post a digital version of that article in our Patreon for our members. So check that out. Link in the description below. You can check us out Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Granted, we don't post much, like I said, because of those reasons. At Modern Toy Fair. You can check Jarmar out over on what's that thing called?
I'm streaming on Kick now. Come on,
Kick,
man. You
that's
know
what it is. There's too many fucking
I
wannabe
thought you
Twitch
said
channels.
cake.
Cake.
And I was like,
Go to Cake and find Jarmar at Jarmar_Cake.
I don't know this for a fact because I've never looked, but that sounds like a different sort of website.
That's
Oh
the
yeah,
point.
that is.
You could
So go to Jarmar_cake.com at your own risk.
I did forget a very pivotal part here and skipped a little ahead. Nate, can you read the Patreon input?
Oh, I wondered if we weren't doing that.
No, I just got caught up in I think that's the end of the topic, so we should probably close out.
Went into autopilot.
Yeah.
All right. Allow me to. I'm going to read Christopher's first.
Okay, it says cake.
I think this is being overblown. Adults past preschoolers, not all children. And it looks like kidults in marketing talk was anyone 12 or older. Also, this counts people who buy board games. Freaks. Board games. Arts and crafts. Bunch of weirdos. My mom buying coloring books and markers counts for this. My wife buying goddamn jigsaw puzzles. It makes great fodder for dick bait headlines. I think I need to get my eyes checked. But I don't think it accurately depicts reality. As the father of two, I can tell you anecdotally that kids still love physical toys, or as my son calls them, his mans. He's going to continue to love playing with his mans for a long time. Just give him that space as he gets older. We will probably continue to see trends like this as we are living longer. Wait, what? Okay. We will probably continue to see trends like this as we are living longer, having less children.
That's fair.
That's a good.
I used to call them guys. Like Star Wars guys, He-Man guys, G.I. Joe guys. That's what I always called them.
I thought you meant your other thing.
Yeah. Like, no, his son's saying mans. Like, mine were guys.
Yeah.
So
and
I
also
assume
played with my guys.
I assume you misread
For a long
clickbait
time.
as dickbait. That's why you said you.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
You said dickbait, and I was like, "That's the weirdest fucking term I've ever heard," and I love it.
I mean, listen.
I have hiccups.
Like, I've never had glasses in my life, but I am 45.
You need some readers.
Yeah, I mean, if only I knew someone.
Yeah.
So. All right, so the next one.
You get some glasses, you might be able to find those G.I. Joe pieces you lost like months ago on the floor.
Oh, I found it. I did find it.
Oh yeah.
I found it. I meant to tell you guys. I found it.
I'm proud.
It wasn't even on the floor.
He's like, it was sitting on my desk this entire time.
It was. No, it was on the floor.
Did you find it because you stepped on it?
Yeah. This next one, this is from Sukma Taint. Adults dethroning children. That sounds gross. Adults dethroning children.
Suck a dick, kids.
Please cut that out. Just in the future. Cut that out for the VOD.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's getting clipped for TikTok.
Adults disemboweling children was the obvious endgame when the government passed child labor laws. Back when kids were allowed to work in coal mines in 16-hour shifts, they had plenty of money to buy toys. These days, with kids stuck in school all day, how are they supposed to afford toys? There's even laws that require you to be 18 to have an OnlyFans. That's total bullshit. All opinions expressed in the last 45 seconds are the only that and not those affiliated with modern warfare.
Jesus fucking Christ. That took such a turn. I should have pre-read that. I should have pre-read that. Oh no. Is that the end of it? Are you pre-reading it now? Just make sure it doesn't get worse.
That was the end of that one.
Okay.
I had to make some edits on the next one.
Yeah, make sure you pre-read the fake podcast after that, because that That got a little extreme there.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we want to go with the fake podcast?
Hold on, we have to get through Corey's thing first, and then we'll come back
okay.
to you.
All right.
Remember,
Corey, what about
I
your
jumped
thing?
around. So, Corey, where can everyone find you?
At Vile Consumption. Twitter.
No, we were told
Instagram.
we were going to see your thing.
Oh,
Yeah, he said it was promised. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that.
Oh my god.
Well, that seems like a bait and
His-
switch.
his-
All right.
his
well,
links are in the
That's
description
literally
below.
clickbait right there. It's just a perfect example.
Nate, what do you got for us?
what's that?
What do you got for us, Nate?
Well, we got a new show coming up.
Ugh.
Oh, boy. Lupine Ephebophilia. In this new psychology-themed podcast hosted by Chris Hansen from Dateline NBC,
Oh, I don't like this.
we
one.
discuss lupine ephebophilia, which the DSM-5 defines as a primary sexual attraction to teenage wolves. We
Pause.
discuss ways of knowing if you yourself might be a lupine ephebophilia, such as you rewatch the Teen Wolf movie over and over. You remember minor details like the number on a sports jersey of obscure characters in the movies. You hang around werewolf high schools at night during full moons. If you are a lupine ephebophilia, Chris Hansen will invite you to take a seat on the stool right over there. I would like to know where werewolf high schools are. That would be
No.
cool to see.
No.
No other
No.
reason.
No other reason?
Well, I
I
mean,
didn't know where that was going.
yeah. Well, I just, I don't like. Is there? Never mind. That's gonna. I don't want to make it sound weirder than I'm already making it. So let's not
They
do
have
that.
to get an
But
education somehow, Nate, if that's what you're asking.
Also, I mean, knowing the jersey number is not minor compared to the other shit I know about that movie. There's also the dude whipping out his wang at the end. So
You said
yeah,
whipping out
he-
his fang?
his wang.
I know. I was just
Unlike
hoping
Corey,
that's not-
it was as promised.
Yeah, no, it was his wang. In the end credits, I don't know if it's actually his wang or if he just sticks something down his pants. But like, as everybody's celebrating in the stands, like the stands empty, and there's a guy at the end, and he's just kind of standing there, and all of a sudden, his jeans fly is open, and something's hanging out of the front of his pants, and they just left it in the movie.
Oh, I was assuming because there were werewolves, it was a red rocket.
No, this was just a dude.
Okay, like
So-
for real? And like they
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
like this was like a extra who whipped
Yeah.
his wiener out. in
Yeah,
the
it's an
end.
extra. Yeah, he whipped his wiener out, but it's in the end credits, and it's in the movie. Whatever it is, whether it's his wiener or not, it looks like his wiener.
And I'm assuming back then they didn't really like comb through the footage that heavily. So
Probably not, no.
Yeah.
Or somebody left it in as a joke, and it's like, let's see how long it takes somebody to notice this.
Well,
And then there was some weird kid in Ohio in 1988 when they showed it on NBC TV for the first time, and he recorded it and watched it and rewound it and rewatched it and rewound it.
just that scene or the whole
The
movie.
wang or
The whole
like
movie.
the whole movie?
Okay, I was like, that's
We're getting questionable again.
Give me a keg of beer. Some of these is a line I use in my everyday life that no one has any idea what it is, and it's from Teen Wolf.
well.
Is-
Hopefully, assuming we don't get shut down, we see you next week. Same toy time, same toy fair channel. Thank you for watching.
It's just one of those
big
days.
assumption.
It's been fun with you guys.
Just one of those days.